Hello and welcome. My name is Vukile. Today I'm going to introduce you to African rhythm, and I'm just going to first of all discuss how African rhythm is created. The things that you might want to know in order for you to create some African rhythm. The first thing up is you must know notes of a scale. You choose a particular scale and you can play within those notes to create a rhythm. That's one thing. Or you create kind of a melody, you know, and that over that melody you can play something, you know, and that melody would be called your rhythm. So that's number one. You can use notes of a scale. So you have to know the scale that you're talking about. Number two, you can use chords. You can strum chords. Say chords in a certain scale. So in this one as well, you got to know the scale. So what you got to do to know the chords in that scale, you got to harmonize that that scale with chords. The other thing is you got to know you can create a rhythm from intervals. So you got to know the intervals in that scale as well. And you can also use triads in that scale. So you can harmonize the scale using triads, harmonize the scale using intervals, and then harmonize the scale using chords, so that you know the progressions that you might want to take. The other thing is pretty simple. You out of those chords or aperggiations, out of those chords or triads, you can play the aperggiations. And when you're playing aperggiations in a rhythm, it's called aperggiating chords. And when you arpeggiate chords, you can actually figure out a chord progression that is going on in the background. So you can actually play chords over that arpeggiation and produce a nice piece. So that in African music, normally chords are arpeggiated. You won't hear, in most cases, you won't hear a chord ring. You'd hear single strings being played, and those would be the notes of a chord, and then you'd be changing chords, you know, and then arpeggiating the thing. The other thing that you do to create African rhythm is chord fragments. You can use chord fragments, things like double stops from a chord, double stops. Or you just, in other words, you don't play the full chord, you just play part of the chord, at least two notes. Or you just accent one note from a chord, and then it assumes that chord has been played. Okay, and these are the things that you might want to use, and by and large you use guitar techniques there to try and make sure that it sounds a little bit different. Things like slides, bending, string bending. I would say sliding is very, very important, and string bending, vibrato, and you have also techniques like you know, pull-offs and hammer-ons. They're very important, and trills, and you also have things like you know, alternate picking on your right hand. Alternate picking is very important to create some of the rhythms. And you also have some strumming techniques that you might use on either intervals, notes, or chords, or triads, or arpeggios. So you have to know the strumming patterns that you want to create depending on the song. Now what makes things difficult when you try to learn African music is a guy would just come up with a melody or a tune, and then he starts playing it using triads or double stops if you want, and then trying to show you that on the fretboard he's playing some chords, but he's picking two notes there. What might make it a little bit difficult is it might be a little difficult for you to follow the chords there, but with time you'd find out it's pretty easy, because you need to be able to harmonize a scale. If you know the scale that he's playing in, you can harmonize it, and then you find the chords that are in there. Okay. There are songs, of course, which break the rule of harmonization of one scale, and then you play. You know, you might find a progression where you play one which is major, the root is major, the third is major, you know, and that kind of stuff, and then the fourth major, the fifth major, you know, that kind of stuff. So you can do that. There's no hard and fast rules in music. So these are the things. So just to demonstrate a little bit, we're going to take each one by itself. Notes that are standalone. Let's say we're playing the key of E, and I'll have my E here. You have to locate your E on any string that you want to play. In this case, I normally use the second string. That's my E. The arm is standard tuning. So let me play a melody. Okay, so that's one way when you are playing notes. Okay, you are playing notes here, and you're singing. It's just singing a melody using notes. In this case, I'm using the major scale, which is. Let's just play the major scale. Sorry that I jumped to the third. I love the third. Okay, so again. And so that's a melody there that represents our rhythm. And we can play a bass over that rhythm that I've been playing, you know, which is. And I must hasten to say to you that this type of playing can give rise to polyrhythm. If I play this, just this one here. You know, that guy can come. These are the things that you might want to know, because you may want to try and follow a chord progression there. You won't be able to get it. All you need to do is to listen to the song and say, okay, was it played with some polyrhythm in there? If there are polyrhythm, then you split the guitars. Now you can split up to this, the guitar here. You can split that. Now the other guitar can just play near there. You've seen I've just played from the 5th to the 6th there, and 4th and 3rd and 2nd. That's why I'm playing. But the first guitar was playing on this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 5th up here. So this is how the rhythm is played, and this kind of rhythm is pretty good. You can play even three rhythms together. You just intertwine, and then you bring in a solo, which would be the 4th guitar, and then the bass guitar, of course, would be supporting the whole thing. That's one place where you have to learn quite a lot to play rhythms using notes. Okay, and it generally emanates from the fact that a song has a tune, and you try to play a melody, to sing a melody in that song, and you would find out that you'd come up with notes, single notes. So this is one way. It's different from aperggiation, because here I wasn't playing a chord, I'm just playing this. So with that there, I put that little rhythm. I can join together three little rhythms to create three little melodies to create a rhythm. With just one guitar, three little melodies to create a, say, one bar of that piece of a rhythm. And then I repeat that bar again and again, and then another guitar would come in and finish it off with another rhythm, or even play another rhythm, and a third guitar, yet another rhythm. So you can play as many rhythms as you want, or you can pretty much use a keyboard to play the other rhythm to just finish it off. Now the other trick about this method is you can try to play a rhythm, and then you play a rhythm and then you don't actually finish it, but then another instrument completes the rhythm, so that or the phrases in the rhythm, if you want, it completes the phrases in the rhythm. You just leave some spaces for the other instruments to come in, which you might call a rest. Bring some rests in there, and then within those rests the other instrument takes over to play the other piece of rhythm that's been split from there. So this is one way. So we're going to examine these ways of looking at African rhythm, and it's going to be fun, and I'm going to demonstrate all the methods that I've just told you, and a lot more. I would say there's quite a lot in this. You would want to listen to a lot of music to appreciate what I'm talking about here. A lot of African music, West African music, Mali, for example. You'd hear some guy playing something, and he cannot figure out what chords are in there. But if you listen very carefully, you would understand the guy is playing notes and he's playing a melody. So the real catch there is you get the melody, and then you try to play it, and then you can figure out the chords that are in there. And I would want to tell you that any song that may be played has chords that fit in there. They might be 6/86, or they might be diminished chords, or they might be major chords, or augmented chords, but there are chords in every piece of music. Thank you very much. My name is Vakila. I'll meet you in this rhythm section. I want to polish you up in this rhythm section so that you know how to play African music. Cheers, mates.